Good evening, all of you. And as the Chief has already indicated, it marks the beginning of a relationship that will be highly enriching for me. Honorable Chief Justice of Chhattisgarh, Justice Ramesh Sinha, and also Chancellor of Hidayatullah National Law University. The Chancellor is lucky. I was Governor State of West Bengal. I was Chancellor of several universities, more than 3 dozen. But it was turbulent. He is lucky to have such an audience, such a Vice Chancellor. All are in sync. He comes from a distinguished lineage. His father could not take oath of the High Court judge, even after the appointment was so declared, on account of cruel hand of destiny. But he brings on the table rich experience of Allahabad High Court, the largest High Court of Bharat. When Allahabad High Court had centennial celebrations, they came out with 2 volumes of anecdotes. I'll share 3 of them so that your connect with him continues to be all the more strengthened. 1, a division bench in Allahabad High Court, headed by a judge like him, would never interrupt a lawyer. It was a principle not to be violated ever. So a lawyer continued arguing for 2.5 days, challenging validity of an act. After he had concluded submissions, the senior judge said, "Mr. Lawyer, have you concluded your submissions?" Yes. "Would you check up? The act has already been repealed." The second was, those were the times when we didn't have that kind of electricity or other mechanisms. So in Allahabad High Court, judges had cozy atmosphere. They had those kinds of mechanical fans, physically driven, and cuss, water is sprawling there. So the senior judge found the ecosystem in the court very soothing, and he thought he must attend to his sleep. The junior was a very disciplined judge. He never disagreed with the senior. He also followed the senior. The problem was for the lawyer. What should he do now? So those were the days when law books were very heavy. They are still, but not that heavy. So he managed to ensure that one of the heavy law books drops on the floor from the table. The senior judge, "Yes, Mr. So-and-so, come my lords, one at a time." He really comes from a very large high court, where judges, even those times, could not recognize each other. So a learned judge, a senior judge, was in his chamber. He was about to go to the court around 10:30 as is the time. He was with a friend. Another gentleman walks in robe. The judge stares at him as if there is an intrusion. And you know what the gentleman said? "I'm a judge of this court. I'm sharing bench with you at 10:30. Therefore, I'm here." Friends, I advise you, all of you, to go through those 2 volumes of Allahabad High Court that carries these real events. Last one of them. In the corridor, one senior advocate asked another, "Who's arguing?" Quick came the response, "The learned judge." Then the second one asked, "For whom?" Response was there. I leave it at that. You need to fully draw on the experience of the Chief Justice. I did it when I was so advised while being a very young president of Rajasthan High Court Bar at the age of 33. You don't wait for the physical form of those 2 volumes. You have enough of it on the Google platform. Professor Dr. V.C. Vivekanand Vice Chancellor of this prestigious university, named after a great son of the soil. My predecessor in office, a distinguished Chief Justice, but the only person in the entire country and the entire history so far who discharged the functions of Chief Justice of India, Vice President of India, and also President of India. A man of great learning. As Chairman Rajya Sabha, I have the benefit of his directives and the decisions he rendered. Now that you are in third decade, the beginning of third decade of this great university, you can take pride in the fact that you have a motto before you to live up to the high life, dignified life, life of knowledge and learning, which late Justice Hidayatullah led. Justice G. Raghuram, former director, National Judicial Academy, located in Bhopal. Am I right, sir? You can have a deep connect with the National Judicial Academy also. It plays a pivotal role. And there is greater need now of interaction of young minds with those who are in the higher echelons of judiciary. Dr. Vipan Kumar, Registrar HNLU, and most important, members of the faculty, boys and girls from this institute and some other institutes, my greetings to you. At the outset, I will seek indulgence of the Chancellor. I seek to invite students from Hidayatullah National Law University and also from those institutes that are present here to visit Indian Parliament as my guest. Boys and girls, we have a structured mechanism. Your visit will be rewarding and fruitful. My official will be in contact with the Vice Chancellor. I hope it is done soon enough. Legal profession has qualitatively gone in a different groove. There was a time when they used to say, sir, jokingly, it is difficult to pass in chartered accountancy, equally difficult to fail in law. No longer. Legal education now is premium education. And your institute is one of the best in the world. The avenues that are open to you, you just cannot imagine. I'll come to that a little later. So you, in a country of 1.4 billion, are privileged, honored to get such kind of quality education. You will have to live up to the expectations of your parents, your teachers, and the country. I have no doubt you will do it. Friends, why I call you lucky? I'll tell you. I go back to my days. I'm the oldest perhaps here. He puts me to some challenge, but I score over him by few days. Look at the system which you have got now. There was a time when our power corridors were infested with corrupt elements. The elements, the licensing exercises done by them, the extra legally leveraged decision making. Nothing could happen without corruption being rewarded. And that was the greatest threat to talent. That denied every meritorious person of a level playing field. In last 10 years, power corridors have been totally sanitized of corruption. Those who extra legally leveraged decision making, that category has become extinct. And have it from me. It can never be revived. You therefore have in the country that is home to 1/6 of humanity, an ecosystem where there will be fair treatment, equitable treatment, and corruption-free governance. The second aspect, and which is equally important, democracy has a meaning only when there is equality before law. Democracy cannot fructify into good value mechanism unless all are equal before law. We now have a system. All are subject to law. No one is above law. I'm sure you must have seen contemporaneous events. But you as young people, boys and girls, must be on guard. You are thinking minds. You are discerning minds. How can people in this country take to streets when they get a notice from court? We are living in times, unfortunate times, that our judiciary reflects a robust judicial mechanism in the world. Its independence is beyond question. We are lucky to have at the moment a Chief Justice of India who, apart from being academically very brilliant, he is very passionate about values. He is more passionate about nurturing people like you. His heart and soul is in the growth of young minds. He has improved the ecosystem of judicial access, which globally is being followed by many countries. I had the occasion to share dais with him recently, where we had people from judicial systems of global South countries. And when they came to know what has been done in this country to facilitate justice availability, they were stunned. They have to follow it. So everything is now lined up. And you can just look back in last 1 year. Those who need justice no longer have to wait for justice. That is the spinal strength of our democratic values, being nurtured by a sound judicial system. We have in this country a leadership that is bringing about impactful challenges to execution. Challenges which we shudder to think about. I was elected to Parliament in 1989. I was a minister in 1990. I had the occasion, painful occasion, a real pain, that our gold had to be airlifted in a plane to be placed to 2 banks in Switzerland to sustain our financial credibility. But you are lucky to be living in times where India's rise in the Committee of Nations on economic front is being recognized. Just a decade ago, our country was taken to be one of the fragile 5 countries in the world, a burden on the globe. Our economy was tottering. The world was concerned. And look at where we have come in 10 years. We today are the world's 5th largest global economy. We have overtaken UK, who ruled over us for centuries. We have overtaken France. From fragile 5, our journey to big 5 is a unique testament to the vision of the Prime Minister. Boys and girls, by 2030, we would have overtaken the economies of Japan and Germany. Will be 3rd largest global economy. Why I say so? All this has a meaning for you. You will have plethora of opportunities. Vistas will open for you. You have eminent people on the dais. Don't confine your thinking to traditional system of legal services. They are undergoing big change. You are eminently suited to contribute in policy evolutions. Only yesterday I was reflecting when ICC, International Court of Arbitration, had its centenary celebrations. I happened to be part of it in Paris. I was part of the commission also there for 9 years and member of the court for 3 years. But now I find Indian talent doesn't lag behind. You are the ones, if you choose to take to arbitral process seriously, you'll have enough avenues. You know more than I do, being young minds. Disruptive technologies are overtaking us. Artificial intelligence, one. Internet of Things. But this will bring legal challenges, challenges that will be required to be addressed by lightning speed. There never earlier was a concept of emergency arbitrators. There is one. All I mean to indicate is that you are at a time in history, in a country, the world is looking at us. There was a time when the world used to guide us. Now International Monetary Fund says India is a favorite destination, global destination of investment and opportunity. It offers fertile ground for innovation. World Bank has taken our country as one of those that offer to the entire world a model for emulation of digitization. And why not? Look at our statistics for 2022. Our digital transactions in 2022, boys and girls, were more than that of USA, UK, France, and Germany. It doesn't stop here. Hold your breath. 4 times the combined transactions of USA, UK, France, and Germany, that is Bharat, our digital transactions. Look at our per capita internet usage. Look at it. It is more than that of USA and China taken together. This has been made possible because of the genius of our people. Our people have created such a rise for this country which is unstoppable. And the underlying theme for that is that there is an ecosystem now available in our country where every young boy and girl is fully enabled to exploit his or her talent, her potential, unleash energy, realize dreams and aspirations. The government is always in your aid. Our Amrit Kal is our Gaurav Kal. But in 2047, when some of us may not be around, you will be taking Bharat on your shoulders to Bharat at 2047 as its foot soldiers and ensure Bharat being a most developed country of the world and a global leader. I'm sure that will happen. Now we see all around there is buoyancy, there is optimism. But in the process, we always have to be extremely careful about certain pernicious tendencies. It is not an option. It is must that we always keep interest of our nation ahead of anything else. We must believe in our country. We must be proud Indians, take pride in our global achievements, phenomenal rise, and the respect we have earned in the world. The world looks at us now. There was a time when they used to render advice to us. Now our Bharat is settler of agendas for the entire world. That ecosystem was not there earlier. Friends, all this has happened because we have visionary leadership. I am not a stakeholder in politics. I am a stakeholder in governance. And more than me, young boys and girls are stakeholders in governance. Because the world belongs to you. Amongst all of us present here, you will have to live the longest. Therefore, being very critical stakeholders in governance, you have to be discerning minds. I do not know what happens to some people. They have very poor appetite for growth trajectory of our nation. Whenever something good happens in our country, either in the country or outside, they make an effort, mischievous effort, to set afloat narratives that are anti-national. You as brilliant young minds are fully unable to neutralize such forces. As a matter of fact, I'll put it to you, it is your duty, pious obligation, to do it. Your silence will ever resonate in your ears. As the years will go by, you need to speak out. Nothing can be more dangerous in society, nothing, than an informed mind, an intelligent mind, a mind who is taken to be very knowledgeable, trying to exploit ignorance of the people to generate political equity. I'll make reference to one epochal development that took place in the country on September 20 and 21, 2023. For good 3 decades, efforts were made to ensure that we get women reservation bill passed. It could not happen for one reason or the other. But the Prime Minister could bring it about. And on 21st September, Rajya Sabha finally passed that bill, providing for horizontal and vertical reservation to the extent of 1/3 seats in Lok Sabha and state legislatures for women. Now, this can fructify only after delimitation. You all know it. We have a distinguished mind taking otherwise. What happens to it? Why not 2024? I just planted a sapling. Now I should go out and see why it has not become a big tree. It will take its own time. This is a epochal development, a great development. Secondly, to the girl students in particular, not only this reservation, but much beyond that, Chandrayaan 3 success, when we talk about it, when we talk about 23rd August 2023, declared by our country as a National Space Day, when we remember with pride India being the only country on the planet to have landed on the South Pole of Moon, where we put Tiranga and Shiv Shakti Point there, we remember the rocket woman. We remember now combat pilots. There is no walk of life where our girls have not outshone the boys. They have made impactful presence in the growth trajectory of this nation. We are in the front league of nations of the world in doing justice to our mothers and sisters. Friends, I wouldn't like to take more time, but I would say certain things. I have always been number 1 in my class. I was always worried, what will happen if I don't come at number 1? This was an obsession with me. I lived with it. Luckily, I retained number 1. I learned too late in life that nothing would have happened. Heavens would not have fallen if I was not number 1. Someone would have had the satisfaction of being number 1, and I would have made more friends. I would have involved with greater extracurricular activities. And therefore, my advice to you, never entertain tension and stress. Heavens have never fallen historically. Why would they fall for you? Number 2, nothing is more dangerous in life to have a brilliant idea and you make your mind parking place for it, merely because you think you may fail in the venture. Never fear failure. Think out of the box. Nothing has fructified globally that has changed the world ecosystem in first attempt. And therefore, if you have an idea, be innovative. Execute it. Don't fear failure. Failure will be a stepping stone of success, and that is reflected in our Chandrayaan 3. I was Governor State of West Bengal, and it was September 2019. I had gone to the Science City. Boys and girls in this number were present. I had invited them. Chandrayaan 2 was to land around 2 a.m. I was with brilliant boys and girls like you, along with my wife. Chandrayaan 2 did not land successfully. I told them, boys and girls, we have succeeded. Before I could complete my sentence, Prime Minister of the country was on television with the scientists telling them, we'll make it next time, this time the achievement has been really remarkable. We did succeed. You need hand holding when you are making an endeavor of this kind. Our girls' hockey team at Tokyo performed gloriously, couldn't make it. The Prime Minister talked to each of them. There were tears in their eyes, but they knew that this hand-holding would spinally strengthen our achievements in the world of sports and games, and we saw the results recently. What I am telling you is that the opportunity which you have got in this country is unique. At a time when the world is looking at us, you have to make most of it. I find when I talk to young boys and girls, particularly in the field of legal education, they are thinking out of the box, but they need to think really, really out of the box, because there are many opportunities as compared to other courses. Legal courses are turning out to be the best, potentially very, very rewarding. In your distinguished career, you have the occasion to intermix your credentials with other courses. And luckily for you, national education policy evolved by this country after more than 3 decades makes great provisions, facilitating provisions. I am sure your mentors, the faculty, will be able to guide you in that direction. In this country, Bharat, which has a civilizational history of more than 5,000 years, deep-rooted culture, during celebration of G20, the most successful event the nation has ever seen, with on 60 locations in this country, covering every state and union territory, 200 interactions, the world leaders were stunned when they came to grips with our culture. You have to nurture it. You have to believe in it. Any walk of life, when you will look at our reservoir of knowledge in the shape of Vedas and Upanishads, you will be startled. I had the occasion to indicate to the Honorable Minister for Human Resource in Rajya Sabha that make available copies of Vedas to every member parliament. Because I find while we talk of Vedas and Upanishads, many of us have not even seen them. I call upon you, please focus on them. Your horizon will be widened. Your thirst for knowledge will continue ever. Because even after you leave this institute, your learning does not end. It will ever continue. Friends, I would conclude and then take some questions. Why this country has come to this level suddenly? You may be in school a decade ago, but we were overtaken by falling economy, despondency, growth potential not being visible, and that was on one account. Inclusive, ambitious, action-oriented, and decisive leadership. Some people say, at this position, holding the august position of Vice President of India, is it not really saying something about the executive? I am not on back foot. Very consciously, I called our Prime Minister at a function in Mumbai, Yug Purush. Why? You young boys and girls, analyze, go to public domain, find out the attributes whom we can label as Yug Purush. After all, there will have to be a Yug Purush at a particular point of time. There can be no better place than Bharat. a man who has changed, revolutionized lives of our girls. Just imagine, banking inclusion explosion. No one ever thought of it. Providing a toilet in every home, taking care of dignity of women in particular, getting water in every household, and taking care of the tears by providing gas connections. When state facilitates ownership of houses, preferentially ownership is shared with the gender of the girls, your gender. Coming back to farmers, their upliftment. Coming back to youth, making available an ecosystem without corruption. Having a system where no one is above law. And these things have happened only on one count. That is, you have to be inclusive, which means non-discriminatory. Everyone has to be treated even-handedly. Everyone has to be treated on merit. Patronage cannot be the way out. Then you have to be ambitious. In a country like ours, you look at developed countries, they don't have a history more than 300, 500, or let's say 800 years. We have more than 5,000 years of history. We have to be ambitious. Then we have to be action-oriented. To be ambitious, inclusive, without results makes no sense. And this happens when you take decisions. Just traverse last 3-4 months. We had the world's one of the biggest convention centers, Bharat Mandapam. We had Yashobhumi. We had put Chandrayaan there. We have brought about epochal development in a special session of Parliament, reservation for women. We are a country in the world that is focusing on disruptive technologies. We are not waiting for others to innovate technology. Whether it is quantum computing, we have a quantum commission, green hydrogen commission, we are doing it. With respect to 6G, already we are one of the few countries in the world, the number is not in double digit, where we will roll out commercialization of 6G from 2025 onwards till 2030. So boys and girls, there is everything available to you now. You are in the best part of the globe. You are in the land of spirituality. You are in a land of culture. You are in a land of rich history. You only have to play on the front foot with the straight bat as per your aptitude. Before I conclude, I have said one thing. I invite you to visit Indian Parliament. I would also, with the indulgence of the Chancellor, the Honorable Chief Justice of Chhattisgarh High Court, direct Indian Council of World Affairs to have an MOU with your institute that will offer you avenues. Indian Council of World Affairs, I happen to be its chairman, is headed as director by a brilliant lady, Ms. Thakur. That MOU will be signed this year. I am aware we don't have even a month left. But then, the man who is changing the world for us, the man who is changing our lives, the man who is ambitious, action-oriented, decisive, I'm sure we'll do it. My office will settle the date with the office of the Chancellor. Thank you so much, boys and girls.